15 love.
Anyone for tennis?
Oh my goodness me, what a shock.
30 love.
If, like me, you've got enthusiastic about it watching the Olympics or perhaps Wimbledon or Roland Garros, you might actually want to have a go at it yourself. Why should children get to have all the fun?
30 15.
In Britain, you're never too far away from a lawn tennis association touted council facility. And for £8 you can book a hardcourt. If you want to experience the contrast that these finely tuned athletes complain about, the transition between clay and grass and hardcourt, or you just want to go with that sliding feeling on clay, just like Rafa. Don Nadal, king of clay. And Carlitos, mon fils.
40 15.
Or perhaps it's grass for you and you've got something about the Roger Federers about you. Or perhaps you just haven't got your backside into gear and it's winter and you're playing on a hardcourt by then. Inside. Non-marking trainers. Now, gear. Let's assume for now that you've got a pair of trainers. I haven't, but a lot of people have. There's a fair chance that you can get a halfway decent tennis racket that's not wood from your local charity shop. For about the same as an hour's court time. Equivalents in pounds, shillings and pence.
Out what? Out what? The ball was out. You gotta be kidding!
But it's someone to play against. It's a two-person sport, even at the best of times. You might have a friend, but they're not necessarily as captivated or as available when you are. They might play just because you want to. There must be some way of setting up tennis games. Matches. Like a casual thing, like a swipe right or swipe left. Like a Tinder for tennis. I know there are clubs that you can join for tennis, not for Tinder clubs. But that's really quite a commitment in some towns. I managed to find, within a reasonable distance from me, 3 free goes. And then, if you're more than 60 miles away, you can join a club for just £50 a year, which I thought very reasonable. £500 a year, the closest club to me. And that's before you book a court. Then you'd have to commit to a bot.
Jump dance! Everyone could see that there was jump dance!
Box league, they call it. But if you're happy to lose consistently, you could sort of learn how to play tennis the hard way. If you're over 30, you could join the ITF Masters for free. International Tennis Federation. This is before the Challenger, and the Challenger is before the ones that we see on television. The ATP. Any age can join the Pro Tour, £70 a year. But the matches are cheaper. Only £40 a year to enter, rather than the sliding scale of the Masters. There's prize money at stake if you're really good, but most likely, if you're entering, you're going to lose. It's going to be humiliating. Perhaps you might want to compare it to Grindr rather than Tinder, but it's someone to play with. I would love to get an ITF ranking. You know, like the players are like top 3, top 10, top 100. The top 250 professional tennis players get paid money, not by sponsors, just for being in the top 250. To get an ITF ranking, in any 52-week period, you play 14 tournaments. Well, information says 16 tournaments. And from the best of those, they take your ranking. If you haven't done 14, you don't get any ranking. Yeah, sure, I'm going to be in the lower 4,000 range. Not internationally, that's in Britain or in France. France is supposed to have a huge number of tennis courts everywhere throughout the country. Now, in Savoy, in the east of France, in the mountains, not so many. There is that municipal hardcourt within walking distance. There are some camping car holiday parks, but my local club would be an hour away in Chambéry, Aix-les-Bains. There is an
40 15.
ITF tournament in Chamonix, and it's an ITF 100. This is the lowest level, what you want to look for. But it does tend to be only local players. I think the barrier to getting a ITF ranking is that in any one country, there's only half a dozen venues throughout the year that host ITF, and if you're going for ITF 1000, they might not have you. And some of the tournaments are at the same time as others. Others are consecutive days. At other ends of Europe, there's a lot in Spain. They're not at weekends. But if you're working from home and can do those midweek days, why not go to Mallorca and Monaco for your hobby tennis? But
That ball was in by about a mile. You people here are goddamn senile.
Don't be noisy, there's a good chap. You'll wait till I'm done. She's having a nap.
if you're not starting off with charity shop gear, it's going to cost you £75 perhaps for a good, decent racket, up-to-date last season model, and another £75 special offer for specialist hardcourt clay or little knobbly soled grass shoes. You've got a pair of shorts, you've got a t-shirt. Now, why do I think that I might possibly be able to justify blaming it on the equipment? Tennis isn't paddle or beach tennis. I'd spent an hour and a half each morning and an hour and a half each evening in a swimming pool when I was at school age. And swimming's all about sculling, we used to call it there, finding the slow-moving water with the angle of your hands, the angle of your wrist. My brother used to play badminton for England. We obviously played together at a certain level. Since working age, a hammer and a saw have been like an extension of my own body, and a tennis racket, I found, was pretty much the same. When it came to playing, a teacher who fancied himself as a bit of a tennis player. He had a good slice, I can say that much for him. My serve always was a bit queer, but he started getting a bit irate and then cheating on the scores. And quite importantly, I'm fairly good at visualising where I want the ball to go, and it pretty much goes there, or thereabouts. I am mainly curious at what stage they start calling a double hit at the ball when it's microseconds between when you're in the arc of your swing of your topspin. But all the ITF tournaments in all of England, France and Belgium isn't enough to get little old me an ITF ranking. I'll have to go further afield to find a friend.
Awfully sorry, but the ball was out. I'd be jolly grateful if you didn't shout. If you don't like it here, well, you shouldn't come. Frankly, sir, you're a pain in the butt. $30, $15.
These two boys really mean business today.
$40, $15.